We found the correct camera angle. Take 15. Oh. Should we call these 10-minute talks?
You think we can actually keep it at 10 minutes?
I don't know.
There's no way.
I mean, I did watch this YouTuber a lot named Peter McKinnon, and he had 2-minute Tuesdays, and they were always like 8 minutes long.
I feel like that's us every time we say we're going to do a rapid fire Q&A.
We're 30 seconds in.
We know that's not going to happen. Well, hello you guys. Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Typically, we would cut that cough out, but in these style videos, we do unedited.
Everything stays.
Unfiltered. All the stuff. Before we jump into this, can we just do a quick show and tell?
Yes.
We have to show you guys this, and so many more of you and our loved ones have sent us stuff for our sweet baby boy.
Oh my goodness.
And we'll show that in the nursery reveal, but we got two different things like
in the last 2 days.
In the last 2 days.
I'm
Tori, you ever heard of like cute aggression?
Yeah.
This was like worse.
On another level.
First off, look at these little Nikes.
Our friend Nicole got these custom made because she knows how much we love neutral, and she loves neutral too. She is like a kick queen. You know what I mean? Like her fit, her kicks. Is that what you call it? Is that what the cool kids say? The kicks?
Kick.
Like
kick.
Like nice kicks.
Do they call them the kicks? I don't know. I
don't know. Anyways, I literally died over those yesterday, but then this gift was given the day before. And I'm not sure if y'all saw my reaction over on Instagram of me reading the letter from Tiffany, but this is probably one of the most special gifts that we've been given.
Yeah. Yeah, eyelash.
Thanks, babe. Anyway, she wrote this entire letter, and it was so beautiful, and she made this because she was watching one of our videos, or she was listening to one of our podcasts, and she said that she was convicted that her prayer life had become selfish, and so she was like, you know what, I'm going to make a commitment to pray over future baby masters. So this was when we were still trying to get pregnant, and she said every time she would pray, she would
put a stitch
in, and y'all,
that's a lot of stitches.
That's a lot of prayer.
Her card had me in stitches.
When she said that, I fully lost it, and then you turned the camera on,
yeah.
And I felt like I got myself together a little bit, but I like fully was not okay at the thoughtfulness and intentionality behind that. Like,
moral of the story is that we can all learn a lot from the generosity of Tiffany and Nicole and so many others, and just really take our eyes off of ourselves and put them on other people, and how we can be a blessing in their lives, because that letter and gift impacted us so much to where it's like, wow, like gosh, it creates almost like, you know, those things like the drive-through challenges, not the challenges, but like
you pay for someone, or they pay for you, then you want to pay for someone,
and it creates like a train or a chain, I forget what they call it, and it makes us want to do more stuff like this too. So thanks, Tiffany, and we hope that it encouraged you guys to do something, and then it'll encourage that person to do something. And I mean, imagine how different the world would be if people were actively trying to just be kind to one another, like actively, like intentionally saying, I'm going to go out and I'm going to purposefully try to help somebody today. The world would look so different than what it does now, because a lot of us now are moving forward into a way of life of how can I help myself today? And I get that, because I'm guilty of that. And this was really convicting. So want to jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, should we give any other update before a Q&A, or just like hop in?
If this is going to be 10 minutes, we have 6 more minutes.
Dave, who said it was 10 minutes?
Because we have to upload it and post it on time.
Guys, we're filming this at 8:30, and this goes live at 10:30. So
and YouTube's been taking a while for the chats.
To process our video and stuff. And so, we have to be quick.
I like the way you said that. Keep going.
Chad would normally say, Zach, can you reverse that and replay her mess up? But can't do that today. All right, let me pull up these questions. First question from Anonymous.
She about roasted somebody.
If y'all don't mind answering, will y'all still consider adoption now that you're pregnant?
1, 2, 3, 100%. Absolutely.
Adoption has always been on our heart. We have been praying, like we wanted to have our own children as well, but that didn't change our heart for adoption in the slightest.
Absolutely.
It's more of a timing thing, and when we feel like God's calling us into that particular season. And so, but yeah, I mean.
Still in the cards, still something that we absolutely can't wait to do one day.
Yes, and if anyone out there is curious about adoption, one of our favorite movies of all time is Instant Family, and I think we watch it like multiple times a year. I think it's just one of our favorite movies, and so if you're ever curious, I feel like they do a really good job of showing like the realities of adoption. They're not making it out to be like, oh, it's just rainbows and unicorn, it's so easy, but they also show like the difficulties behind it, but the blessing inside of it. And so it's so good, and it's so funny. Like it's one of those that it's like not a cheesy movie, it's just like a really good movie.
That's actually something, I'm going to share something while you're finding a question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's actually something I've been learning a lot lately. The older I get, the more responsibilities I have. And I think typically you would deem that as like not cool, because we have more bills than we've ever had. We have more responsibilities than we've ever had. We have more pressures than we've ever had. And you think, oh, well, that keeps you from living free and just doing whatever you want all the time. And I'm actually experiencing the contrary. I feel more happy and more satisfied and more content inside of all my obligations than I was whenever I was just some bachelor doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And it's so interesting the way that's playing out, that just like that movie shows the hardship that comes along with fostering an adoption, you see this fulfillment and this connection and this depth of the way people feel and connect. And even though life can be really hard for a lot of us, and we know that a lot of you are going through hard times, or just, when I say hard times, it doesn't always have to mean traumatic. It can just be difficult, where you're just working hard. And but I'm personally finding in my own life that I'm actually more thankful in those times. And so I'm actually really excited about walking into a season, because I feel like it's actually going to be a more fruitful season than just feeling free to do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Well, it's just kind of like that whole mentality of like, if you want your life to be better, like make your bed in the morning, because it's like that one step of accomplishment that makes you want to accomplish more things. And we're already one off because this bed is not made this morning. But it's okay. But it is that like mentality of like, once you have like one thing and you feel like accomplished in that area, you're like, oh, I can take on something else. And it does bring this sense of, I don't know, like responsibility also brings a sense of like, oh wow, like something's happening in my life.
Yeah, it's like you're adding value.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Are y'all reading any parenting books? If so, any recommendations? You've gotten a couple really cute ones lately.
Yes. Parenting by Paul David Tripp, The Intentional Father by John Tyson. And I actually have a few others that are focused on like how to build a healthy culture within your family, called The Culture Code. I haven't started reading that. But yeah, there's a handful that I'm really excited to read.
Well, actually, I'll try to make an entire like parenting section on my Amazon storefront and add all of Chad's recommendations to that as well. I'm currently reading a book more about like birth in general, so I feel like I'm going in phases. I'm like, let me prepare for like birthing this baby, and then I'll read the parenting ones about how to raise the baby. But he's also the leader of our house, so you know, I'm glad he's doing that. How can I best support my husband while he is in a stressful work situation?
You want me to answer this?
Yes, I would love your answer.
Did you see me get so ready to answer that? Don't try to fix anything. Just support him and pray for him. And if there's something that you can maybe take off his plate that he typically does, that he would be surprised about, that's really helpful. Because I know for me as a guy, I want to manage all my responsibilities and do them well. But when things become stressful, I start to sacrifice myself, and I start to like, I will prioritize my family above myself. And so, but then I start to suffer, and then that's not good, because whenever I'm suffering, I do a poorer job of taking care of my family. And so when it comes to supporting your husband, I think really, really, really be in prayer for him and try to fill the gaps where maybe he's slipping up or is running out of energy, but do it without like saying anything. Like just try to really watch him and see where he could use assistance and help. And it's those types of things that mean a lot to guys where I think girls feel the same way actually, where someone does something without having to ask for it. Because a guy having to say, oh, I'm struggling, I need help on this, is a lot harder. It's hard for us to do that. And so if you just do it, the feeling that we feel is really special. So
there's also this book that I absolutely adore. It's called Power Prayers for Your Husband. I'll also link that below. But there's an entire like section on praying for his work life.
I wonder why my muscles are getting bigger. It's like I've been like, what is happening?
But no one should be praying for your husband more than you're praying for your husband. You know what I mean? Like you should be your husband's biggest prayer warrior.
And husband's the same for the wife.
And biggest supporter, biggest encourager, biggest cheerleader, etc. And so I think it's really easy to get in that mindset of like critiquing and being your husband or your spouse like biggest critique, and you want to be their biggest encourager, their biggest supporter, etc.
There's also, for me, whenever I feel believed in, I literally feel like I could run through a brick wall. Like, guys, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a pride thing. I don't know. But I know that whenever I feel backed and supported and believed in, I feel like I can do something. But if I feel like it's me against the world, then I start to crumble. And so just him knowing that you believe in him and he'll work through this time will help him believe it too.
So good. Okay. This is a cute little question. Do y'all still get butterflies when texting each other or having conversations after all this time?
I mean, she sent me some stuff.
Stop.
Sorry, I got transported. No, she hasn't. We don't send messages like that.
I feel like there's still times when Chad will like look at me a certain way or like, okay, babe, you're being so weird. There's still like times when I'm like, oh wow, like that's my husband, you know, and you like have this like, I don't know. I guess you could call it a butterfly feeling, but it's not the same as when you first start dating and it's like the first holding of hands and the first kiss and everything. But that's a good thing. We've talked about this before, and I don't remember what series, relationship
Go watch
series.
all of our videos.
I think maybe the boundaries one, I'm not really sure. But yeah, there's still moments, but it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing to be comfortable with someone. I think that everyone wants to chase the butterflies and the feelings and the endorphins and all of that kind of stuff, but that stuff isn't like the lasting stuff. And so, yeah. Yeah,
I think that you really start to get butterflies around different things too, because whenever you're single and you start dating, you're really looking forward and thinking about holding hands or a kiss or, you know, like a text popping up, like, are they thinking of me? Yeah. But like, we spend 24 hours together a day. And so when I get a text from her, she's like in the other room, you know? And so, but anyways, the other day she walked out in a purple outfit and she showed me her belly, like from the baby. And I was like, wow, you know? And it was one of those moments where it was different. And it was a same feeling of excitement and love, but it was for a different reason. So.
Aw, cute. Okay. Do you want to do that, or should that be like a whole video?
We don't have enough time. We're already 4 minutes over.
Just so people know, we might do an entire separate video on like a personal review of the first half of 2022, if that's something that y'all are interested in. So if it is, make sure to comment below that you want to see that video, because it's something we've actually like talked about doing anyway.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Tuesday's video.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, guys. How do you plan to build up and honor your marriage after baby is here?
It starts now. It really does start now. It's kind of like how do you plan to honor your spouse when you're married? It starts now. It starts with having a really good foundation and really good boundaries, and already talking about it to make sure that you're on the same page, and not allowing too many surprises to hit you. Now, we know that'll happen, but it's just kind of effectively communicating like, hey, I know things are gonna. So I've already asked so many of our friends' wives who have babies, and I said, listen, okay, listen. I know that for a certain point of the newborn baby's life, I'm not necessary. Like, she's necessary. And how do I support her whenever the baby doesn't want me or need me? How do I help? Right? And then they've given me a lot of good advice. So I'm already seeking advice on like, how do I support her whenever the baby doesn't really need or want me right now?
Yeah. And I do think it's really comes down to like intentionality too, with being intentional with your spouse, even though there's a new entity in the mix. Like I know so many of our couple friends who specifically have date nights weekly. Like if y'all follow Melanie and Jordan, they have a date night every Sunday night, and it is like on the calendar. There's no kids. It is just them, and they do it every single week, and it really is beneficial to their marriage. Now for Chad and I, it's a little different because we spend time together every day, all the time. So our date nights don't look as routine right now. But once there is a baby in the mix, I think we will have to be a lot more intentional about being like, okay, we need time, just the two of us. And so making sure that you have people in your community, whether that's like parents or in-laws or friends who are willing to like help make that happen, because it doesn't have to be this big extravagant date. It could be like going for ice cream for an hour, you know, like or going for a walk, like but just having intentional time for sure. Yeah.
So we have a ton more questions, and we're getting short on time.
Yeah.
And so why don't we do a few quick ones, but also if you guys are still watching at this point, let us know if you would like a part 2.
Okay.
Because these Q&As are the easiest thing for us to record.
We love doing them.
And so if you guys do want a part 2, we could record one ASAP. Really quick, so the first one is a quick one. So my friend has been trying for 1 year to get pregnant. Any advice I can share with her in the waiting?
So much advice, but I will just link. I just wrote a blog for Live Original, and it's to the girl still waiting. And
also, if you could send her the video
that we did on waiting.
Well, it's a video on the God story.
Oh, yes. That too. Well, in my head, I literally just wrote that blog, and it's like to the girl still waiting. It's very recent. So we will link that blog, and we will link the video of the God story behind us getting pregnant after our year of waiting, and hopefully it'll encourage her.
And so the next question is, how are you praying for the baby, and how can I pray for mine? And I think, let us know if you guys want this, but if Tori and I, but mainly Tori, should do a full, like a deep tour of the prayer closet.
Yeah.
And that way she can discuss her prayer strategies.
Yeah.
If people want that, let us know.
Yes.
Trying to decide if I should move or not. How do I know if I need a new community? That's honestly like, I think, a whole video.
It is, but I will just answer very quickly. If your community, this is a quick question. Is my community leading me closer to God or farther away from God? Are they encouraging me in Christ or are they not? If they are not, it might be time to reevaluate your community. And I think moving and community can be like two different things. Like we had amazing community in LA, and we felt God leading us to move for a completely different reason. And so, and we can do a whole video on community if y'all want that.
And another question to ask yourself is, are you actively cultivating the community that you desire? Yeah. And so it's like, if you're just expecting things to happen and they're not, then it's hard to really be upset about it because you're not building it. Yeah. And so you also have a role in cultivating that. But if it's not landing, which happens to people, then it could be an opportunity for you to check out some other areas too. Yeah. So last one, do you have a set time to check in / talk about deep stuff? Struggling with bringing up hard topics with the hub. This is a sensitive topic for us. Tori also struggles bringing up hard topics with me. So this is like, you're not alone. Yeah. So many couples struggle with this. Yeah. Do you want to talk first or do you want me to?
Okay. I will say, when we have this thing, we've talked about it on the channel, where we have family team meetings on Sundays before the week gets started. And to be completely transparent, we've been so out of rhythm with that lately. And I feel like that was our specific time and place to like bring up a lot of that stuff. And because we haven't really been as intentional and had it in the past couple of weeks, it has been harder for me. Yeah. But something that Chad has been wanting me to do, because we have a couple friends who actually do this, and I just need to put it into practice. So maybe you can put it into practice as well and let me know how it goes. But is to actually write your husband a letter of like what is going on and what you want to talk about, and give him the letter and let him process that alone. And then set a time to actually like discuss it, because then they're not responding out of like defensiveness or like, oh, I did something wrong. And it gives them some time to like process that with the Holy Spirit before processing it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I asked Tori to write me letters. That way I could read it when I'm ready to receive it. Because more often than not, she's right. I just say I'm stressed with this, and then I'm like boiling up, and then she says something, and I'm like, oh, this is too much for me to handle. And if I could like take my time in the morning and read it and like process it and then respond to her, that would help me and my personality. But also, I think it's just important to just say like, hey, listen, there's some deeper stuff I want to talk to you about. Can we schedule a time?
Yeah.
And you and I both can pick it. That way I feel honored, but you also feel honored. And it's just really about teamwork, but it's just making sure that he is aware that you need to bring stuff up instead of bringing it up at hard times. Like, don't bring up something sensitive maybe right as you're falling asleep. Or as you're sitting in the driveway before you go see
a friend
or family. I've made that mistake. You know, there's definitely a good time for some things, but we also know that things can be harder for some, and you have maybe there's not a good time. And so I think just having grace for each other inside of that too helps a lot. I think we're going to rename this to 22-minute talks.
I literally knew it would be 22 minutes when you said, let's try 10.
We can dream.
I'm like, it's going to be twice that.
Yeah.
There's no way we can answer questions in 10
I wish
minutes.
we had our own talk show. I mean, guess YouTube is kind of like that. But it would be so cool if we could just have people call in and we could just talk the whole time.
That would be fun to do sometime.
Like Dave Ramsey for like young people.
We can call some of our patrons and ask them questions, or tell them to ask us questions. That could be cool. Okay, anyways, we're going to sign off so that we can post this video for you guys. But we love you. We have some really fun content coming next week, so that we're excited about.
I have no idea what it is.
Well, let's just say Cooking with Chad's going to make a comeback on this channel. So.
Okay, yes. All right. Love you guys.
See you in the next one.
Are we still doing that thing? Yeah.